Welcome, Spartans, to Mission Debrief. We're playing every mission of the mainline Halo video game series in chronological order, discussing our experiences and sprinkling in a little lore along the way. If you'd like to play along and have your thoughts read on the show, email us at podcastevolved@gmail.com or drop us a tweet at podcastevolved on Twitter. We'll be playing the Tayari Plaza from Halo 3 ODST on the next episode. This episode, we're debriefing the Prepare to Drop cinematic and Mombasa Streets missions from Halo 3 ODST. I'm your host, Colin Perkins, alongside David Arnold.
Hello, everybody.
And Krysta Brown.
Wait, where's my Mjolnir?
It's gone.
What?
No Mjolnir in this game.
What?
All right, since this is the first mission debrief of Halo 3 ODST, we're going to do a quick run-through of the game, just kind of overview of when it was released and some other tidbits. So Chris is going to take you through that quickly.
Hey, okay. So our developer is Bungie. The original release date was September 22nd, 2009. This game is almost 10 years old.
Mm-hmm. As of recording. Yeah, that's crazy.
That is crazy. The number of missions is 10. Other games released in this same year was Halo Wars, which was earlier this year, or 2009. Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2. Minecraft. Wow. Batman Arkham Asylum. Assassin's Creed 2. Left 4 Dead 2. Borderlands. Bayonetta. Uncharted 2. Dragon Age Origins. Guitar Hero 5. And Street Fighter 4.
Oh, what a year.
I know, right?
I mean, every year has good games, so it's kind of fun just to kind of go back and see what else.
You gotta pick a couple bad games, so we're like, shit, that year was sucky.
Right.
you gotta put like all the really bad games that came out this year where you're like, wow, ODST was the best game of this year.
Yeah.
So currently it has a Metacritic score of 83.
That might be the lowest of the main lines. I haven't looked ahead, but everything else is in the 90s so far. So.
Oh, really? Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
So we're all playing this on the Halo Master Chief Collection, which was given to everyone that played MCC near launch, because the launch wasn't very good, so they gave us this for free. But if you did not play MCC on launch, it is $5 whole.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my goodness. Most of us play between heroic and normal usually.
I'm playing on heroic this time, just seeing how it goes. So.
Oh yeah.
I started
playing
on normal
until then.
I started on normal, but I think I'll put it up to heroic because it's been kind of easy, but we'll get into that later.
Yeah.
But you know, if you were the viewer, really hate video games, you can play it on easy. And if you really hate yourself, you can play it on legendary.
Absolutely.
Yeah, this game is tough on legendary. I mean, I'm playing on normal now because I want to use some of the weapons that you get in this game, which we'll probably talk about later, and they lose effectiveness very quickly when you up the difficulties, and I kind of want to use them while they're relatively useful.
You can always play the mission a couple times on different difficulties.
Oh, I don't know, Krysta. Oh, I don't know.
So, just some of the important dates of the timeline covered in this game. October 20th, 2552 to October 21st, 2552. And the epilogue is on November 15th, 2552, and the legendary ending is on November 17th, 2552. So there's a couple days between the main game and the epilogue.
Mm-hmm.
So we can
yeah. So we played Halo 2, if you're listening along.
Yes.
And now we've kind of gone back in time, and we'll kind of cover that in a little bit. But that's part of the reason.
I think the other games are the same, but this is like a very short period of time that this whole game takes place over, in terms of essentially a couple of hours in a day. And I think Halo 1 didn't even that was much longer than that. I can't remember the dates off the top of my head.
No,
Halo 1 was a couple days. Yeah,
Was
they
that?
were on
Yeah,
the ring
okay.
for a couple days, but also like the overall mission in ODST is a little more pressing, just because it's an escape mission, or as it is
True.
now. But we'll be talking about that a little bit later. So some of the major marketings are "We Are ODST."
Go look that up.
One of my
awesome
favorites
trailer.
ever.
So good.
I get the
song
song
in it's
stuck
amazing.
in my head. Yeah,
Yeah, it's so good.
So that is the live action short that they shot for ODST, very similar to the ones we saw in Halo Reach. And then 1020.
Mm-hmm. You guys remember watching that?
No, tell me, what's this?
It's kind of like a recap of everything that's happened so far. And it released in 2009, so we know, now we know way more about the larger story. But this was kind of a chance to catch people up on what the story was, or currently is in Halo, as you're addressing it in this game.
I see you left out the Sergeant Johnson commercials.
Oh, I didn't. I wasn't aware of those. I don't think.
I think when you pre-ordered the game, you got a Sergeant. You were able to play Sergeant Johnson in Firefight.
I looked that up, but I don't remember them. I don't think that was a thing in Ireland. That may have just been an American campaign.
Oh, because I remember just some of the Sergeant Johnson stuff, and also Red vs. Blue did a promotion for it as well.
Okay.
So they had a little short as well. So a lot of the marketing around this game was very. It was very, kind of jokes and stuff like that. Like most of the marketing is for Halo. You got the serious side, and then you got the kind of community fun side. You're like, hey, how's it going? And also at this point, Firefight was just becoming a thing. So it was pretty big that ODST had Firefight in it.
You're talking about in video games?
Yeah, in 2009. Yeah. It wasn't as widely accepted as it is now in a bunch of different games, because a lot of games have firefight modes.
The horde mode.
Horde modes.
Yeah. I think Gears had the first, did it? Or was it? I know there's horde mode games, and that's all they are in terms of Left 4 Dead and stuff like that, which you mentioned came out this year. But it was super unique to Halo, and still exists now. People love it. I love it. I was never very good at the ODST one, but it's good.
Yeah, people still go back to ODST just to play the firefight, because the firefight is one of the hardest in Halo. Just because you don't have Mjolnir, you don't have overshields, you don't have a lot of stuff. Okay, just some additional media that has to do with the characters and just this ODST group. The Halo Helljumper comic features Romeo and Dutch, Operation Fireside, January 2552.
Yep,
and then
that was just earlier in the year.
Yeah.
And it's good. I enjoyed that comic. I just went back and reread it, and it just provides a lot of kind of character of both Romeo and Dutch, but also kind of what the ODSTs are all about. It's a good read.
It's a good intro to these characters. Mm-hmm. And then Halo New Blood and also Halo Bad Blood are post this game, and more. Halo New Blood is a couple years after.
A good bit after, yeah.
Yeah, New Blood is a couple years after, and then Bad Blood is right after Halo 5. So it's one of the newest stories in the Halo timeline currently. Mm-hmm. Both are very good, both talk more about these characters, so if you play the game and you're like, man, I love these characters, I want to see more, those are really, really good novels to read. New Blood's just a novella, so it's really small, and then Bad Blood is actually a full novel. So that's the long and the short of Halo ODST.
Thank you very much. All right, so now we're going to take you back in. So we finished Halo 2, and now, remember I kind of talked about it in the middle of that season, is that after the slipspace jump, Regret causes that big kind of explosion, and there's an EMP blast is what kind of was the resulting explosion there. So now we're just going to kind of catch up there. So that was Metropolis. So in chronological order, we just finished Halo 2 Metropolis. And so in that mission, we crossed the bridge, that extra long bridge, with some explosive tank goodness. Master Chief takes down the Scarab that was terrorizing New Mombasa. The Prophet of Regret decides to make an in-atmosphere slipspace jump, but not before Miranda Keyes, Sergeant Johnson, and Chief can tail them through the rupture. The resulting EMP blast levels New Mombasa. So Chief, Miranda, and Sergeant, they're off. They're going to save the world in a couple weeks. Meanwhile, aboard the UNSC heavy cruiser Say My Name, ONI operative Veronica Dare assumes control of Alpha 9, a group of hard-nosed orbital drop shock troopers led by Edward Buck. After some character introductions via some man-squabbling, the squad prepares to drop to board the Prophet of Regret's ship that's hovering above the surface of Earth. However, Dare has other plans and shifts the team off course right before Regret makes the in-atmosphere slipspace jump. Then the EMP blast disables the pods, and they just plummet down to Earth. 6 hours later, so 6 hours after that happens, Now we're waking up as Rookie. We're playing as Rookie now, inside his pod, and he drops down to the streets of New Mombasa, and he sets out to track down his ODST squad mates. So as we mentioned earlier, this date of the game is 10/20, October 20th, 2552. I want to read the opening scroll. It really said, like, this is a sad game, kind of like Reach.
Yeah.
Remember that mood that Reach said? Is just like, oh, everything's depressing. We're all going to die. So this kind of has a similar feel at the beginning here. So I just want to read that scroll. It's dark. It's stormy. It must. I guess that setting taking place during.
It's so immersive too.
Yeah.
Totally. I started up the game. I was like, oh, okay, I gotta play ODST now. Okay, whatever. And then that scroll happened, and I'm like, instantly back in the game.
Yeah, me too.
Like crazy, because I was tired. It was late at night. I'm like, I should get a mission done right now, just to get it done. And then just instantly, I was excited for the game. I was in the world, and I was ready to go. It was crazy.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, so the year is 2552. Humanity is at war with the alien race known as the Covenant. We are losing. The Covenant have burned our worlds, killing billions in their genocidal campaign. Earth is our last bastion, a carefully guarded secret, but not anymore. A Covenant carrier has breached Earth defenses and attacked the African megacity New Mombasa. Initial reports confirm major damage and heavy civilian casualties. Now, military leaders of the United Nations Space Command have prepared their response. Teams of highly trained orbital drop shock troopers are ready to assault the carrier from Navy ships in low orbit. This is a near suicidal mission, but these troopers are the best of the best, and saving New Mombasa could be the most important mission of the war. So good. I
just have a comment on this.
Yeah.
A couple years ago, I had just moved to Florida. I was making friends, and one of my friends hadn't played Halo. I'm like, let's play the Halo games together. So we were playing through the games. I think we got to Halo 3, and then we went back to ODST. Mm-hmm. And she saw the opening scroll, and she didn't realize we were losing the war against the Covenant.
Right.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
Because she's never read the books. She's only seen the story through Master Chief's eyes, and every single game ends in a victory.
True.
Well, except for Reach. Did you play Reach with her?
I was playing in release order.
Okay, yeah.
So Reach was going to be after. Yeah, we hadn't gotten there yet. But she honestly thought that we were winning the war. She was shocked. She's like, we're losing? I'm like, yeah, we're losing real bad. So I think this game and Reach are very good storytelling devices that tell you what's happening behind the scenes and not through the eyes of Master Chief and his crazy campaign against the Covenant. Because Master Chief wins. That's what he does. So it's really interesting to see Spartan 3s and ODSTs who aren't as big of winners as Spartan 2s just in general, and just see how dark and dismal it gets. It gives you a perspective on this is more than just Master Chief's story. There's a huge war going on that affects a lot more people.
The other thing, I just want to mention it here. We'll probably talk about it at length in a recap show or the next series, which is Halo 3. But this game came out in 2009, ODST. Halo 3 was 2007, I believe. Mm-hmm. And then Reach was 2010. So ODST and Reach were kind of the last two games that Bungie developed, and neither of them involved Master Chief. It's just kind of interesting note.
That is interesting.
Also,
right.
It was kind of interesting there that this game was supposed to be DLC for Halo 3 and was originally called Halo 3 Recon, and then that's what it was. And then it became a bigger thing, and then they changed it to Halo 3 ODST. And I remember that being a big announcement, that it wasn't DLC for Halo 3 anymore. It is now its own game. Its own standalone game. That was like hugely fascinating at the time. Like, it was a big ordeal when they changed Recon to ODST.
The E3 trailer is out there. You can go watch it on the web. Joseph Staten, who was largely involved in this, him and a small team of Bungie team members, really pushed this game forward. So go have a look at that if you're interested. And they also do tease Reach in that. So yeah, lots of cool stuff. But let's get into the mission. At least this initial Mombasa. Well, let's talk about the cinematic. That's the other thing we're going to cover. David, do you want to cover off on that? So you haven't heard much from you yet.
Sure. The opening cinematic is pretty damn cool. It does a great job of setting up this team of individual characters, the relationship between Oni and the rest of the military, and as well as introducing what I don't like in video games, and I haven't liked in a very long time, is the silent protagonist of this blank slate character. It's just supposed to self-impose yourself on. I don't like any of that anymore. I think we're way past that. But
Agreed.
Video games still do it, but whatever. Here we have the rookie, which is the character that you play as in the game, and he's the newest member of this team. But you are, in a sense, not a rookie. You're just a new member. They don't really clarify that very much, but the rookie is like a veteran.
That's just his nickname.
It's just his nickname, right? Yeah, because he's the new guy essentially, so everyone calls him the rookie.
Mm-hmm. Instead of calling him FNG.
Yeah, exactly, the fucking new guy. But he is the new guy. But like, there's a great sense that this team have worked together for a long time. But like, at the same time, Veronica doesn't recognize any of these, and there's a huge backstory that is hinted at that you don't know between Buck and Veronica there. So when she comes in, the guys are like, they're looking at a hollow kind of screen of the city of the ship that they're about to assault. Because the ODSTs are given one mission, but Veronica comes in and specifically requests this team for a specialist mission. So there's a mission that is dropping, like I think it's about 200 ODSTs are being dropped onto the carrier in an attempt to like capture the profit, like essentially do something good here. But Veronica has a different mission, which it is never really clear what that mission is until almost the end of the game. Like there is,
and she doesn't tell them until they're in the pods, or actually they're
exactly
dropping.
Which I think I missed the first time I played this game. I didn't cop on that like something different was happening. I thought it just went haywire because of the detonation.
Oh. It's just a line or two of dialogue.
Exactly.
Like
the thing about this game is it's very nuanced. There's a lot of stuff in this game that you kind of have to play it a couple times to get exactly like what's going on. A lot of things are just said in passing. Some aspects or details of the game that are just visual, you can obviously just not see it all.
Yeah, and that's from Joseph Staten. That's his style. That's I've come to learn. That's kind of his, just his style. That's what he enjoys to write. So that's totally his deal, and it's fine. And it's good. Like it takes a second playthrough or a third playthrough to kind of capture everything.
Well, and it's also more realistic because all of these guys know exactly what's going on, or are hearing everything a little. Things are a little more clear to the characters in the game, but a person just watching from the outside might not get everything on the first go.
Yeah, right. And the same. Well, yeah. So you have Veronica there, who is from Oni, and Oni are like the spooks, CIA, crazy spy guys of the future. They have their hands in everything. They're always up to no good, always doing crazy stuff. And so Veronica is a operative from there, and she has her own mission that she's taking Alpha Squad for. So Alpha Squad or Alpha Team is Edward Buck, who is the leader of the team. The current members are Dutch, Romeo. Dutch is like heavy weapons, or does that Michael? Dutch. I mean, I can't remember their specialities off the top of my head, but you got Dutch, you got Mickey. Mickey, I think, is this heavy weapon specialist, and you have Romeo. Romeo is more or less a sniper, but you don't really know that just yet. And then you have the rookie. So the team members are kind of outfitting their gear. There's a bit of banter between them all, and essentially, Romeo picks up a shotgun, which I thought interesting. That was his first choice because they're outfitting for a particular mission, which is to breach a ship, which you think it's going to be a shotgun will be there for close encounters, as you'd imagine. But Buck takes it off him, gives him a sniper rifle, and this is like, get your outfit, get in your pods, wake up the rookie. Do you know what I mean? Because the rookie's asleep in the corner, which is cool. So essentially, the rookie gets given his weapon, which is a silenced SMG, which is awesome. So we'll talk about that a little bit later. And then the guys pretty much get in their pods and jettison out, which is a fucking awesome scene. Awesome moment.
So good.
Of seeing the ODST pods get dropped from the first person perspective. And what's also like the cool piece of trivia is that the countdown timer of you getting dropped in is the respawn timer from the multiplayer games of Halo. That's just a cool little subtle audio thing that I loved. I thought it was awesome. That countdown of you just getting dropped in. Or like the countdown timer to a match, I think is actually what it is. The match beginning. But it's awesome. Anyway, you're hurtling through this pod and you've got two screens either side of you and a bit of glass in the middle. And the screens are Buck and Veronica, and they're talking to you, and you're looking through the screen of space of you dropping down out of this ship, aiming for a Covenant cruiser that's on Earth. So you're hurtling down through. There's all ODST pods all around you. Veronica says very quickly, we're changing trajectories. We're going here. Book comments going, hey, we're going to miss the ship if we go here. She says, trust me, or whatever. And so your rockets all change course. And right as you do that, the Covenant cruiser enters subspace. And the big shockwave comes out that damages and actually kills all of the ODSTs other than Alpha Team, because you were diverted, I'm assuming is the reason why you survived. But all other ODST pods pretty much, they get blown up, died, whatever.
Oh yeah.
So like that's never really touched upon, but I think it is.
Grim.
It might be mentioned in one of the books, because there's one or two other books that mention. We didn't mention a book called short story called Dirt, which is actually about the rookie, before he joins Alpha Team, which is a fascinating story, but you don't know that at the time. Anyway, there's other kind of stories going on around this, so they do touch upon that all those ODSTs are dead, and I think it is Mickey's pod crashes into yours, and then you just black out, and then as Colin says, you wake up and the game kind of begins.
Very
Of
nice.
you jumping and dropping out of your pod 6 hours after the drop.
Also,
So
just
those-
the hours after the drop does become pretty important.
Yeah.
So,
So
pay
we'll be
attention
talking
to
about that.
those. The first time I played, I didn't pay attention to that and had no idea what was going on.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that was a long time ago, though.
So those pods they have a name. Soyev, the Soyev drop pods, single occupant exo-atmospheric insertion vehicle.
Nailed it.
And they're rad. So we pop that bad boy open. We do a little kind of analog test to make sure you're either you're inversed or you're normal.
What you like? Yeah. Brief little tutorial.
Yep, and then you hop down a long ways. Somehow you survive that because, like we said, we don't have Mjolnir. So it's teaching you things right away, right? It teaches you kind of how to use your stick, and then you fall, and then you're hurt because your screen's kind of
You take
goes
damage.
red,
You
and
see
you're
your health
breathing
bar.
heavy,
Yeah.
and then all of a sudden you go find a health pack. So now we have to find health packs again. It's been a while since we found health packs, but we're not Spartans anymore. We are just ODSTs, just lowly ODSTs.
And you get that sense that you're not a Spartan anymore pretty quickly in the game.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
almost instantly. You're like, I'm weaker, I'm not as effective, I'm shorter.
Right. But and I say that in jest. ODSTs are like the best of the best, right? Of the Marines outside of the Spartans.
Yeah,
Yes.
I think up until the Spartans were created, the ODSTs filled that role. They were given those kind of missions, and they had like the ultimate, let's say, respect in terms of the military hierarchy, where ODST was the peak of a given trooper or a given like soldier could be, and then Spartans showed up and kind of like totally overclassed. And like it's interesting that the dynamics between ODSTs and Spartans, they don't like each other, and there's a definite like rivalry there. I will also mention before we go too much further, I wasn't aware of this, but like other Halo games, when you change the difficulty, the intro speeches changes. So Buck actually says different things in the intro based on your
Really?
difficulty you select. Yeah. So on easy or normal, he says, "Troopers, we are green and very, very mean." On heroic, he says, "Pucker up, Marines. I'm sure as hell ain't losing out your pods. Ain't hosing you out of your pods, essentially. Sorry. Pucker up, Marines. I sure as hell ain't hosing you out of your pods. Legendary, we are dropping into hell, troopers. Time to grow up here." So I never actually realized that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they do. We've mentioned that before. They do that quite a bit.
And
The other new thing is this is Visor. So we have another
Yes.
acronym here: Visual Intelligence System, reconnaissance.
I love it. It's so cool.
Yeah, Visor's
Except when it's like really bright outside.
Yeah, then it sucks.
Yes.
But
Then
I
you're
actually like that
blinded.
too, though.
Well, it's
Yeah.
it's very immersive.
Yeah, absolutely. The other thing that I noticed is I went back to Halo 2 to see if this was there, but I don't think it was there. Is you can see kind of the lines of your helmet now. So you have your helmet on, and Bungie is
I get what you
actually
mean. Yeah, no, that
kind of
was ODST.
superimposing. Like it makes you feel like you have that helmet on versus
Yeah.
like in Halo 2, you can see everything, right? You have a HUD and things like that, but you just see the entire screen. Now you kind of see the contour of the helmet. And that carries through the rest of the Halo games that we'll play. So yeah, the visor kind of highlights. You hit the button. I think it's the right bumper, I believe. And it's kind of like their take on night vision goggles, but it'll highlight things that are important in yellow. It'll highlight your allies in green and the bad guys in red.
And it just kind of outlines buildings in white, so you can kind of see just the outlines of different rubble and stuff like that a little better.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I've always struggled with it. Like, I think it's a cool system, but I'll be playing for a while and I'll realize it's off. And then like turn it back on and have to adjust. So it's like you kind of, especially in Mombasa Streets, you kind of just have to play with it on at all times. And then you'll kind of flip back and forth when you're on a mission. Because when you go into these buildings, it's dark. It's real dark. You can't see anything. So you need to pop that bad boy on. The other thing that you can see, we'll mention it kind of during our walkthroughs, is that you can see there's writings on the walls as well, so you can kind of see that stuff pop up. Anything?
Yeah, this is
else?
crazy graffiti that is written on the walls, and we have a crazy Chris who has translated most of those. I can't remember what they mean, but I think they're like stuff that like we'll talk about later. The engineers are writing on the walls and stuff.
Mm-hmm. And then, so we start with a pistol. And this pistol, I like this pistol.
Oh, it's like,
I like
this is my second favorite pistol in all of Halo.
And this is them fixing the pistol, because we gave out about it. They broke it in Halo 2. They did not make it better in Halo 3. It is actually better in Halo ODST.
It's so good. I will carry this pistol throughout the entire game. I do not give up this pistol.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
It gets very difficult to use. I tend to drop it well, it's good to noob combo. That's about the only thing it can do, because it will kill enemies with headshots.
Mm-hmm.
Which is why it's great again. It's silenced, it's scoped, it's nice.
So both your weapons are silenced, the pistol and the
scoped.
SMG.
Yeah.
Yeah,
so
the SMG scoped as well.
The SMG is real good. It's scoped.
Mm-hmm.
It's has a bit of a recoil kick on it, but it is pretty cool. I like the SMG in this game a lot.
What I do is I just melt the brutes with the SMG and then pop them in the head with the pistol.
Yeah.
The SMG in Halo 2, it's impossible to control. And this one's way better.
Yeah.
All right, let's explore a little bit, right? So we're kind of locked down. So it's a big city, but you're kind of locked down into this initial area. There's places where you think you can go, but there'll be signage that says you can't pass through here. There'll be some doors. There'll be a lot of doors, but only a few doors have a little like green light on them. That means you can go through. So it's fun to kind of find those areas that you can go through the buildings. Kind of go upstairs and you can explore. Lots of dead aliens all over, dead Marines all over the place, and
broken vehicles, stuff like that.
Yeah, they do. Throughout the entire game, I feel like. Remember when we talked about Metropolis, the last mission from Halo 2, kind of right before this, is we felt like that was a cool mission, but it kind of felt empty. This one does a much better job of filling the mission with the trucks and the cars and the dead body. Like it just feels more lived in.
Well, and they also do a very good job at highlighting like something like a big battle happened here. We're basically in a graveyard of a city.
Yeah.
After a war, which is what exactly happened, but the environment and the ambiance in this game is incredible.
Oh, from the very start, like this game is such a different tone, completely different soundtrack, which is amazing, and just the sounds of a city at night that's like almost like under occupation is kind of the way you think about that. Like you've dropped into the city that has been occupied by Covenant forces, and like you're encountering brutes and kind of grunts that are like patrolling, which I think is really cool. You actually see them patrolling the city streets. That's pretty damn cool.
Brutes are scary now. Like,
yes,
because you're an ODST, you don't have your Mjolnir. I mean, they're scarier. I guess they always kind of are, intimidating.
Also, they're giant. They're huge.
Mm-hmm.
When Master Chief's
like
next
9 feet in like, quote unquote real life. Like in the lore, they're 9 feet tall. So they're huge. And we get, like you said, we kind of see these patrolling. So it introduces you to, little gunplay. You get to see, there's usually one brute, maybe two brutes with just a little gaggle of grunts that you get to clear out. But yeah, you get to test out your weapons here. You get to explore. This is a hard area. Like this whole game is going to be hard to do a walkthrough, especially in the Mombasa Streets areas. So we'll probably just, as we think of interesting places to see, we'll probably just kind of highlight those. But you're just kind of wandering around. And the other thing of note, and again, you may not notice this until the second or third playthrough, is that there's signs that are kind of like directing you along the way. So like you go down one area, like I said, there's some areas that are blocked off that are clearly like red, you can't go here. But then you'll pass a sign and you'll kind of hear it kind of flicker or buzz at you, and then you look at it and it's green. It says like keep left.
Detour.
And then detour, that sort of thing. And then you'll also, when you pop on your visor, you'll see those symbols on the ground, kind of in directing you as either something of interest or the next place to go to. So you're being guided, even though you are in this open area.
Yeah, you got to pay attention because there's audio cues in terms of like those signs talking to you, like something is talking to you, and there's also like a lot of things to see. It is very visual. Pay attention to the signage you see around you. It's kind of interesting. It will tell you if you're in a dead end and stuff like that. Because we'll talk a little bit, like you don't have a map as of yet, and there's no motion tracker. There's nothing there
No
for
motion
you
tracker
to tell you kind of where to go.
No mini map.
No mini map either. Yeah.
Yeah, you can't. Yeah, go ahead.
There's almost no way of navigating except for eventually you get a map in your menu, but you can't really mark things. Can you mark things? I think you can mark
you can,
waypoints.
yeah.
But when you get lost and you look around and you see something that says, detour, keep left, you're like, what? But it's something that's completely missable. You can miss it on your third playthrough, your fourth playthrough. You can keep missing it unless you are really paying attention and you kind of know what's going on.
Well, I think a lot of people will miss it because they're usually playing Halo with friends and split screen, and they're talking to each other on the couch. I would recommend doing that. This is a fun game to do that, but also take the time and play through it with headphones in the dark
on a stormy night
by yourself, right? And crank up that sound because it's good. All right, so as we mentioned, we it's going to be a tough one to kind of walk through, but we see some grunts and some brutes, and then you do get to a specific spot here where I think there's a city circle square area where there's a couple more brutes and some grunts, and then you think you do have to clear out that area, or you can run past a lot of this stuff too, like in all of Halo, but you will get to a point where you need to go through a door, and then inside that door is just a bunch of grunts that you get to clear out. Some of them are sleeping as usual. I found this room hard on Legendary, probably just because it was so confined. But anyway, you can kind of get through this area. There's kind of tall grass in the middle of it. You kind of get through to the next area, and you're finding this beacon. You're following this beacon the entire way. Oh no, wait! Did I miss where you get the?
Yeah.
Where you get
before you get to this
map
room, it says you contact the superintendent, so you access a computer.
You hear a phone call.
Yeah. Essentially, you hear a phone buzz, and you have to go over and you click this phone. It's highlighted in yellow. So both those audio visual cues are important. Things that are in yellow are generally things that you can interact with, and it essentially puts this little bit of text in your HUD telling you superintendent contacted, Veronica Dare, access protocol, blah blah blah. You see like a password getting entered, and it goes downloading map. And when you do that, you get a menu option in your screen. It's part of the VISR kind of like database. You get like a top-down 3-dimensional map on your screen, which is super cool. We never see anything like it in Halo again, but it's super cool. And it essentially shows you the world in terms of like where you can go and where you can't go, and the cities like blocked off in different sectors. So you can see all the buildings, and you can finally see like a beacon, which now gives you waypoints, which is important in this game because you're always following a waypoint, and you can set your own if you like. And also there's various other things which will pop up on this map, which we'll talk about later in later episodes as they become relevant. So that's kind of cool. You'll always be accessing this map. Eventually you might get to know the streets and you get to know where you're going, but right now this is it's a very important tool.
Yep, absolutely. So as I mentioned, you kind of get that, then you kind of go through this little grunt area, and then once you kind of get through there, then you have some creepy music kick in, and then you're in this office building full of dead Covenant here. I did find an AR here, which I was very happy about.
Yeah, you can find shotguns and ARs scattered around. as well as various other stuff.
Yeah, I missed my AR in Halo 2, so I was happy to have that back. So then we kind of go through some other hallways. Like you said, there's some shotguns. At one point, you're kind of heading on the third floor of a building, and some jackals come out of the side. So that's the first time you meet jackals again in ODST here. And then you hear that pinging. That ping, so you know you're close. And it gets louder as you get closer, and then you have your visor on, and it highlights Dare's helmet is stuck in the monitor. And what? Okay. So you kind of go in there. We kind of cue the cutscene at this point here, as you kind of go and you yank out that cutscene, and then you hear in the background as you hear Buck talking to Dare. So it's kind of just a recap of that earlier cutscene that you had seen. And then we go on to the next mission from here. The kind of the first. So these missions are the Mombasa Streets. You'll kind of keep coming back to Mombasa Streets, and it's kind of this open area. But then the individual missions that you trigger once you find the beacon are linear. Yeah, so that's the opening. Anything else we want to talk about? What did we miss, guys?
I got a couple of random bits of trivia for you. It's the only level in which Dare actually wears her helmet, because as you just said, it gets blown away, so we don't really know what's happening yet. But it's the only mission you'll see that helmet. Unlike any other levels in this game, this level is not viewable in the theater mode. It is possible to play, in quotation marks, this level in Firefight, but the viewers can only move around in camera form. Finish a solo game, and then the game will load, prepare to drop, and then go to the Firefight lobby, where the level name and difficulty settings should be stated. Select start game, and one should be the briefing room, as in the floating camera, which is kind of weird. At the start of the game. When starting this level on Legendary, players can see a picture of an apparent girl on the left side of the rookie's pod. Joseph Staten commented that this person in the image is the rookie's beautiful girlfriend, in quotes, but it's actually an image of a guy named Chris Butcher, edited to resemble a woman. He's an engineer and programmer at Bungie. That's kind of funny. Nice. And like I said, the countdown beeps are the famously taken from the Respawn timer / GameStar countdown from Halo's multiplayer. I mean, other than that, it's just like, it's such a change of pace for the Halo universe, going from Halo 1, 2, 3. And it's just like you're given a quote unquote and like an open world, a little bit of a sandbox to play in, which is unlike the other Halo games. You've got different weapons. It's at night time. That factors into it. There's a very kind of stealth kind of gameplay vibe in this game that you can take part in. Like because you have silenced weapons, but they don't really behave like silenced weapons for the most part. Like if you shoot a grunt in a headshot, they all know exactly where you are. Do you know what I mean? So it's that kind of stuff. But there's definitely beatdowns are there as well, and important. Like you can, this game didn't have assassination animations, but you can assassinate enemies by one hitting them from stealth melee, from behind and stuff like that. And this game is all about exploration, way more than the other Halo games would be. So it's always worth your time exploring, because you'll find different weapons, you'll find ammo caches and whatnot, and grenades. And one kind of important thing that I think you find in this mission, no, you find the next mission. If you notice in your HUD, there's 4 grenade types that's actually displayed. And the 4th, and that's kind of interesting, because you're going to get frag grenades, plasma, brute spike grenades, which we've had already. But we haven't had this, or since this.
Do we have spikes? We had them in Halo 3. I don't know if they're in Reach.
They're not in. No, they weren't in Reach. This is the first time.
Okay.
This is the first game that we've covered. Yeah.
Okay. Well, we knew about them beforehand, essentially, because Halo 3 came up before this game. So we might talk about them a little bit later.
All right.
I think the best thing about this mission is that it established itself as being so different from the previous Halo games, just instantly. Just the vibe of the game, the way your character kind of moves around, how his health works, and just the overall vibe of the game. And I think that's one of the most genius parts about this particular level, is because it's like, hey, this is a Halo game, but it's not a Halo game.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's very different. And I think, Bungie was trying to do something different. Like you mentioned earlier, it was, supposed to be a DLC, and they were kind of in a weird place with their development of Halo at this point. So, I'm glad they did it. I loved it. This is one of the first games. This is actually the first the first Halo game that I played all the way through.
Wow.
I might have mentioned that earlier in one of the podcasts, but I played a little bit of Halo 3. I may have beat Halo 3 before, but I feel like I just played a little bit and then I stopped, but then I rented ODST and I played the whole way through and I loved it. And then that made me want to go back and play Halo 3 at some point, and then, you know, I kind of took a break from Halo until, you know, more recently. But anyway, yeah, I really enjoyed this game. It's going to be a fun one to talk through. I did, so we don't have any terminals like we've had in the past. We'll have something else to talk about, and we'll talk about that later. But I am posting questions. So since, David, you've talked a lot recently, Krysta, are you okay taking the postings that I made?
Sure.
There's in Facebook, it's just a couple down. I just talk about the visor. And then there's a Discord. There's a couple comments in Discord as well. All
right. Can we have like do music or something like that?
Yeah, sorry I didn't prepare you for that.
You're fine.
That's okay, Colin. Why didn't you tell me? What weapons did you use in this mission? Did you use the AR?
I like using the alien weapons. I use the AR, but then I'm usually using the alien weapons in this game. For some reason, I'm not. I think this game, more than others, I feel like I'm running out of ammo a lot.
Yeah,
because,
big time.
Like, everything is so scattered, and like I may run across a UNSC weapon, but I don't have. That's not the one I have, or the one I'm used to at the time. So I feel like I'm switching out a lot. So also, yeah, I go ahead.
Yeah, no, you're right. I did the exact same thing, and I'm always scrounging and looking for ammo. There's a particular piece of rubble in this game that looks like a square. It looks like the letter T, and every time I see this piece of rubble on the ground, I think it's a pistol. Because the pistol almost has the exact same shape and color as this thing. And as soon as I started this game again, I was like, oh, I remember this. And I'm running up to this bloody piece of rubble, and it's not a pistol. It's not ammo. And it's so frustrating. I don't know what. Just from a distance, it catches my eye every time. And I'm like, is that a pistol? And I go to
This game is all about flashbacks to playing, like, the first time you played it, or, playing it earlier. Like, you'll keep getting, because it is so, like, especially the Mombasa Streets, it's so dark, and you're like, you remember wandering around, and you remember, like, exactly what you said, kind of mistaking something or finding something interesting. Yeah, it's definitely good for that.
All right, so we're doing the visor one, correct?
Yes.
All right, so Colin Perkins has issued us all a overall question. Very imperative. He says, Halo 3 ODST introduced the visor, night vision mechanic. Do you like the way it works, or would you have preferred a more traditional night vision treatment a la the green lenses from Splinter Cell? So Tyler says this made it unique to ODST because it wasn't a normal like a system that we see in all games, really.
Yeah, like I said, it's mostly that green lens, right? Like night vision is that high pinging sound, and then everything goes green, right?
Yeah. Okay, so Spencer Gibbons said, I wouldn't change a thing. I loved how everything and everyone was outlined in color, which makes the visor system revolutionary from the current night vision we commonly see in the media today. It seems fitting for ODSTs to have this equipment given their role behind enemy lines, differentiating between allies and foes at night, setting a waypoint using downloaded map of a city plus a compass, and uncovering objects of interest. I would like to see visor mode return in a future Halo. The night vision in Reach was a massive downgrade. So the night vision in Reach, if you don't remember, was literally just the green lens, and you only used it once or twice in the entire campaign. Most of the campaign was outside and not in very dark buildings.
Well, and we've joked, too, is that Master Chief has a flashlight.
Yeah, he just has a normal flashlight.
Right, exactly. So the ODST
But also
this
Spartans can kind of see in the dark. They have the augmentation to their eyes.
Oh, yeah. That's true.
I mean, they don't really need night vision.
They just need a little flashlight.
Yeah, all those missions could have been at nighttime. We'd never know.
Yeah, we never know. It just looked like daytime to us.
Whoa. I like that.
Yeah, there's a
so
mind
don't read the
trick for
responses here, Krysta. Just read all the initial posts.
Yeah. Okay. Wise Man, we all know who that is, says, visor would be a cool mid-game upgrade, or I wish they went full lore and allowed you to toggle flashlights, infrared visor, and traditional night vision by hitting the up button repeatedly. So he likes visor, but he wants different augmentations of it, not just visor. Maybe just having a normal flashlight in some areas or not. Jose says, I like it.
That's good.
Very nice.
Great post.
Krysta says, I feel there shouldn't have been an option to turn it off or simply made the contrast better, so you'd have the option to have lines or not. It was insanely difficult to see without the visor. It's better now, but I've played through it and know where to go, but in the start, holy crap, give me the LED torch. Jared C says, couldn't the visor see through invisibility? Like, could it give you an outline or an invisible dude? Does it? I think
No,
it
I don't
does.
think so.
No?
That'd be
Okay.
too OP, and I guess the whole point of the stealth is that it totally covers you up from perspective of human technology. I don't think it's detectable.
Okay.
And then,
I'm forgetting, so I'll try to look it up quick.
well, I mean, eventually we're gonna come across them, right?
Right, that's true.
And then Gregorio says, I found it useful.
Nice.
I like the short answers. It's very, very nice. Let me
Okay.
get into the mission debrief thingy.
All right, here it says, anything cloaked in active camo, specifically brute stalkers, will be highlighted orange by the visor. This means that the visor identifies cloaked objects
Oh shit!
as scenery. Well, it identifies cloaked objects as scenery, so it'll highlight it in orange, which isn't red, which is what all the enemies are. So it'll find something there, but it won't know what it is. How's the
Okay.
Discord coming there?
So I'm here on the Discord. Shipmaster Ratas Vadum, our good friend.
Urtas.
It makes things more unique. The night vision makes the atmosphere more enjoyable and iconic. Elon says, I really like the visor mode. I wish we could use it with the Spartans, but canonically they wouldn't need it as much because they have enhanced vision. Thank you! Matt Banished says, I love the visor and hate it when I jump from ODST to another Halo game, because it always takes a few minutes to adjust if I play a night level. So just not having that mechanic. Bigfoot says, visor gives you an outline of invisible enemies as well. Oh, well.
Hey, we covered that.
And that's about all we have on the Discord, because we get off topic very quickly on there. But if you're not on the Discord, you should join it. There's some very interesting chats that we have going on.
Yeah, lots of good chats in there. Lots of topics.
Lots of tripping.
Right. All right, I'm just gonna call it. I don't think there's anything else to cover at this initial state, but we're in for a nice treat here with this series. That'll do it for our debriefing of the opening cinematic and Mombasa Streets from Halo 3 ODST. On the next episode, we'll be covering Tayari Plaza. Send us your thoughts at podcastevolved@gmail.com or drop us a tweet at podcastevolved on Twitter. Until next time, evolve.
Evolved.
Evolved.